Refugees in all contexts are the most vulnerable groups. Usually, everything in a refugee camp is to build from scratch. School, health facilities, given the fact that refugees often come from different countries and they likely from different school systems. Curricula need to be adjusted, adapt with obvious lack of resource. Teachers need to be identified and trained, ideally within the refugees themselves. During crisis, the humanitarian community focus is mainly on restoring basic social needs like health, food, even shelters. So resources toward education for refugees is very limited. Sitting in three areas, the biggest difference between refugees and normal school is first the psychological state of mind of teacher and student. In normal situation, student and teacher are emotionally stable. They don't have to think about nutrition, health problem, and even the future, the way to go back home or the reinstallation in other countries. In refugee situation, people are traumatized. Children are often irritable, sometimes violent, and do not have the necessary motivation and concentration to study. The second one is the context in refugees camp. In normal context, parents have to make sure that the children go to school. They keep the day-to-day routine and are responsible about child education. In refugees context, some parents would tend to transfer their responsibility in NGO. They are overwhelmed with basic needs issues and education become less a priority, and or they become careless due to routine humanitarian assistance, especially in refugees camp that has been lasting for years. The third one is the lack of qualified teacher. In refugee situation, there is a lack of qualified teacher, and the need of teacher is huge. So sometimes we have to hire a lot of teachers that do not have the diploma or even the level to teach. In sub-Saharan Africa, more specifically in the countries that I cover, we easily have a ratio of one teacher for 300 students, while in normal school the ratio is about one teacher per 30 or 50 students, depending of the country. All right. In that context, you can imagine the lack of qualified teacher. Government and NGO do their best to recruit teachers and with an acceptable level of education. However, it's not always easy to find people with the degree in refugees camp. We therefore need to train what we call parent teachers or school monitors. So some of them receive training from JRS, but unfortunately, JRS is not everywhere, and there are very few NGOs dedicated to refugees education. In addition, in refugees camp is a particular context, and even qualified teachers still need specialized training for refugees, and also capacity building, like in social psychological support, in child protection, in the violence-based, gender-based, and in peace building, and etc. Universities are critical in filling the gap of quality and quantity of education for refugees. Resource mobilization from outside donors is, of course, very important, but there is a need to build sustainable solutions. One thing Western universities can do is to provide experts and train local experts in some neglected areas. This is available actually for all areas that can be related to education and refugees' well-being. We need human resources here. Like, for instance, there is a positive psychologist in Africa with knowledge in refugees' needs. Psychologists, students from Western University can come in camp in Africa to do their internships. This is like just an example. In addition, local academic institutions also should to have trained in refugees and other emergency contexts to teachers' curricula, especially in countries with proactive crises. One of JRS mission as well is to give students younger the opportunity to access to post-secondary school and professional education that give them an official diploma. For me, university can sign MOU with NGO to build degrees and program targeting refugees. And maybe the third things, and for me, like the main critical role that can play university is for girls' education and women empowerment, above social mobilization and girls' school campaign. Girls need to have more representation to identify themselves as a value for community and the society.